Okay, so tonight I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're going to be talking about hair porosity. I'm going to show you how to find yours, how to find out what your hair porosity is, why it matters, and some products or some things that you can do to kind of help with certain issues that you may be having due to your porosity type. Because that's what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna show you how to find yours, how to find out what your hair porosity is, why it matters, and some products or some things that you can do to kind of help with certain issues that you may be having due to your porosity type. If you are watching this for the first time, or if this is your first time on a live with the 180 Collection, my name is Kendra. And I am the founder of the 180 Collection. I've helped hundreds of women with hair issues like thinning edges, bald spots, thinning hairline, with using all natural herbs, oils, and butters to help to regrow their hair. And I've coined myself your hair rehab guide. And rehab stands for regrow edges, hairline, and bald spots. Okay. Our #1 selling hair growth treatment, if you have not tried it, is called the Balm. Okay. And it's available on our website, 180hair.com. And the Balm is like a, that's how it looks. The Balm is like a grease or a hair pomade, okay, that you dip your finger into, massage it into your edges, your hairline, or if you have a bald spot. It's also good for overall healthy scalp. It's also good if you're trying to thicken your hair, okay. It's also good if you're wearing protective styles and you want something to keep your scalp itch-free and moisturized and healthy, and all that sort of thing. So give that a try. If you're having some hair care issues and you have not tried that product, check out all the reviews. There's hundreds of reviews on the site, on the and as well as on our social media pages. So if you're on Facebook, scroll through our page, you'll see some testimonials. Also, if you're on Instagram, you can see some testimonials there as well. Okay. So tonight we're going to talk about hair porosity. Okay. I'm going to tell you how you can do a quick test to find out what your hair porosity is, why it's important, and some things that you can do to kind of help you on your healthy hair journey. Because most of you that are here want your hair to grow, but we have to remember that hair health is a foundation. Healthy hair is a foundation for growth. So I want to always make sure to give you information to help you on your journey. Okay. So what is porosity? Porosity is basically your hair's ability to absorb and retain moisture. Okay. So that's water, that's oils, that's hair care, whatever hair care products that you put on it. Okay. If you notice that sometimes when you put products on, they sit on top, they don't really penetrate. Or if you notice that when you put products on your hair, like a water-based product, it evaporates quickly. It takes the moisture, but it also leaves it almost as quick as you put it in. Those types of things come from your hair porosity, right? So think of your hair cuticle layer. Everybody's hair strands has a cuticle layer, okay? So think of your cuticle layer as like shingles on a house, okay? So the cuticle layers sit on top of each other, right? And all of this is happening at a microscopic level, okay? So if you take a hair strand out and you look at it, you won't see this unless you're looking under a microscope, right? And so your hair strand is made up of 3 main parts, okay? Your cuticle, the medulla, and the cortex. So the porosity is the ability, and I'm going to talk a little scientific, but give me a few seconds just to kind of get past this point, okay? So the cuticle is what determines whether or not moisture or products can pass through to the cortex, okay? And the cortex layer is where all the moisture and all the stuff that needs to get into your hair to keep it healthy. So here's a little visual. I'll show this really quick. So think of your hair, like I said, your hair strand as 3 main parts. The outside is the cuticle. You can see that's a little scaly, those scales, okay? And then the medulla in the middle and the cortex. The cortex is what I'm talking about. This is where we want all the moisture, all the nutrients, all the goodness to get to, right? But in order to get to the cortex, it has to pass through your cuticle layer. And that's where your hair porosity comes in, okay? So that's a quick explanation of that, right? So there's three main hair porosity types. There's three main types of cuticle layers that you ladies have, that we all have, okay? And there's another quick little visual. I love visuals, okay? So I'm a visual learner, so I like to show pictures and I like to see pictures. It helps me learn better. So we have low, normal, and high, okay? You see the difference in those three types of hair strands? Think of these three pictures as three different types of hair strands. One looks like that, which is low. One looks like that, which is normal. And one looks like that, which is high. And these little things here, we're going to call those the cuticle. So you see some are laying really tight and flat. Some are kind of open. And then some are open all the way. Okay, so we're going to talk about why that's important. So how do you know what your hair porosity is? Okay. One little simple home test you can do is taking a hair strand and dropping it in a glass or a cup of water. Okay. So I did that little test, and you have to give it like 10 to 15 minutes. And this is going to be super hard to see. And this water has so many bubbles in it. But I did a strand. Now I can't even see it. Okay, I did a strand on myself and my daughter's hair, okay? Both of our strands stayed at the top. So when you do your own test, take a couple hairs out of your own head. Make sure your hair is clean. Because if your hair is weighed down with products, when you do the test, the hair is going to sink to the bottom anyway. It's not going to give you an accurate result, okay? So make sure your hair is clean when you do this test at home. Take a few strands, drop it in the water. If it stays at the top, you have low porosity hair. We're going to talk about what that is. If it kind of just hangs out in the middle of the water, you have medium or normal porosity hair. If it kind of floats for a minute and then sinks to the bottom, or just sinks to the bottom immediately, you have high porosity hair. Okay, that's the home test you can do to find out what your hair's porosity is. Okay. And also it tells you how likely your hair is to absorb and retain moisture. Okay. So it's not a science, it's not rocket science. It's not a super scientific test, but it is will kind of give you a foundation or a place to start if you are experiencing problems like moisture retention. Okay. So me and my daughter both, when I did both of our hair, the hair strands that I tested stayed on top of the water. So that means that both of us have low porosity hair. What are the characteristics of low porosity hair? Okay, so this is the picture. Remember I showed you my little visual. Hey, Miss Wilma. So remember I showed you my little picture of what a low porosity strand looks like. Okay, remember shingles on a house. They're very tightly packed together. So if something is very tightly packed together, it's hard for something to get in it. Right? So this is what just think low porosity hair looks like that. It's very tightly packed. The cuticle layers are very tightly packed, right? So it's hard for moisture to get in. So what's going to happen with hair that's like that? What do you think? It's going to be hard for moisture to penetrate the hair shaft. So what's going to happen is, thank you, Miss Wilma, what's going to happen is products will likely look like they're just sitting on top of your hair. So have you ever put in like a moisturizer or something and you look at your hair and it looks like it's just sitting on top, like it didn't penetrate, or your hair looks greasy, or it takes a long time for it to dry. If you put a water-based product on it, it's like it's still wet, 30 minutes later your hair is still wet. You likely have low porosity hair. Okay. Hair products tend to sit on your hair and don't absorb easily, okay? Things we need to do is make sure that we apply conditioner to our hair when it's already wet, okay? Apply heat. Heat will be our best friend. And I'm not talking about heat like curling irons or heat that will damage our hair, but I'm talking about using things like a steamer or a heat cap or hooded dryer. When you put your conditioner or your moisturizing products or your oils in, apply heat first, okay? If you can't get access to heat in that way, you can take a, what I used to do is take a plastic shower cap, wet it a little bit, put it in the microwave, let it get hot. After I put my product in, put the shower cap on, maybe tie my hair down with a towel to kind of let that heat, to incubate that heat into my hair, okay? But definitely, we're going to launch also the conditioning caps. I showed you ladies those a few weeks ago, where you take the conditioning cap, you put it in the microwave, similar to what I just said. It holds in heat for a long period of time, so you would just put it on your hair when you deep condition or when you're putting oils or creams or anything on your hair, because heat is going to help that cuticle to open. Because remember, that cuticle layer is tight. What will help it to open? Heat. We want that cuticle layer to open so we can get the moisture and the nutrients in to the cortex layer, okay? Are y'all still with me? Next thing we want to do is look for ingredients like glycerin, vegetable glycerin, honey, in our conditioners or in our shampoos, okay? So a perfect example of a product that has glycerin in it is our Spray and Go leave-in conditioner. This is great for those of us that have low porosity hair. If you have not tried it, it hydrates, helps to smooth frizz, and refreshes the scalp. So this is a scalp to end hair hydrator or hair conditioner, and it's a leave-in, so you don't have to use it and worry about rinsing it out. And it works even better if you use it with heat. So like I said, you can spray your hair down and then apply like your heating cap or your hooded dryer or something like that. Some oils are not our friends, okay? Let me just be real about that. If you have a low porosity hair, coconut oil, heavy, thick oils are not your friend, okay? You can use those sparingly. You can use those every now and again, but to use those every day is just not going to be good for your hair. It's going to just sit and make your hair heavy and hard to deal with, and it's eventually going to break off. That happened to me, okay? So a good oil to use if you're a person that feel like you have to use an oil every day, our Nourish and Shine hair serum is a great option because it contains avocado oil. Avocado oil is very light and genuinely, trying to focus that. It's trying to focus on me instead. Typically, it will penetrate your hair shaft. So you want to think of light oils like avocado oil, grapeseed oil, things of that nature, okay? So the next one, we're going to move right into normal porosity. Normal or medium, same thing, okay? Get my little visual. Let me fold it this time. Okay, well, no, I'm not going to fold it. I'm just going to show. So normal porosity is there. We just talked about low, where the cuticles are tightly packed together. It's hard for stuff to get in. Now this is medium or normal, okay? So normal porosity hair, normal or medium. If I say normal, if I say medium, I'm talking about the same thing, okay? So the cuticles are not so tightly packed together. So what do you think that means? I keep doing this, but that's not what I mean. So somebody, let's say with normal or medium porosity hair, their cuticle layers are like that. Can y'all see my hands? They look crazy. So if you have medium porosity hair, moisture penetrates your hair easily. You will probably be the type that has really healthy hair that's easily moisturized, that takes product in easily. You really don't have a big issue with dryness or frizz or any of that. Your hair holds styles for a long time. It takes color well. It tends to look healthy, shiny, or glossy. And it does not take long for your hair to dry. Like if you let it air dry, if you have medium porosity hair, your hair is probably in a very good state, okay? Now, if you do the home test, remember we talked about taking a strand of hair and dropping it in a glass of water. If you have normal porosity hair, it's going to stay in the middle. Nobody in my house has normal porosity hair. I thought my son did at first, but it kind of went down and it floated back to the top. So medium porosity hair means that what I just said, it doesn't take long for your hair to air dry. Your hair is typically shiny and healthy. It takes color well. It holds styles well. All of those things are key when you're talking about normal porosity hair. Okay, your strands are typically balanced. Your hair not only can take in moisture, but it holds it well. So leave-in conditioners are good for you too. If you have normal porosity hair, leave-in conditioners are good for you too. Heat protectants, basically any type of moisturizer will be good for your hair. Your hair will take it in very well and it'll hold it in very well. So you want to make sure not to go overboard with chemical processes. You don't want to heat style it too much, because when you have that type of hair, it's usually at a pretty balanced state. Okay, so you don't want to do too much stuff to compromise your hair type. Okay, using oils on your scalp is good, not too much. Just want to incorporate some strengthening oils every now and then. And a good oil for that, even though it's called the Don't Scratch Soothing Scalp Oil, this oil is full of nutrients. Okay, so dang it. This is good to use from your scalp. Man, Facebook does not want to focus. So anyway, this is the Don't Scratch Soothing Scalp Oil. This can be used on your hair as well. It's not too thick. It is thicker than the hair serum, but you could use, if you have normal porosity hair, you could get away with using either of these. You can use this one daily because it is much lighter. And this one I would say use a couple times a week, especially if you have a dry scalp or itchy scalp, or you want to use something on your ends. This will be a good option for that type of hair. Okay, the last and final hair type that we're going to talk about is high porosity hair. Okay, so when you do the home test, or when you do the test at home, if your hair strand sinks to the bottom of the water, you have high porosity hair. Okay, what does that mean? Now, normally those of us that are still wearing relaxers or get color treatments, if we have any kind of hair damage, even genetics can take a toll on the type of porosity that our hair is. But if you have had I keep saying hair damage, any type of heat damage, like if you've overused flat irons, curling irons, or things of that nature, it can cause high porosity hair. Okay, so the cuticle tends to have lots of gaps and spaces between it. So low porosity, the cuticles are tight together. Medium or normal, they're perfect. High porosity, they're basically open. Okay, and this is my little visual for high porosity. So you can now know the difference between the three. Okay, it's low, normal, and high. High porosity hair cuticles are normally lifted up. Okay, people with high porosity hair also usually have hair that tends to be frizzy and dry. Because if you think about it, if your hair cuticles, and this is on a microscopic level, if they all look like this, imagine what happens as your hair rubs against each other. Your hair strands rub against each other throughout the day. It gets frizzy, it gets tangled, right? It breaks easily. Okay, so people with high porosity hair tend to have that problem, especially if you're natural. Okay, so how to care for it: look for ingredients like butters and oils to kind of seal and smooth that cuticle and moisturize your hair. Okay, leave-in conditioners, sealers, anything that helps to hold your hair and retain moisture. So doing the LOC method that people do, where they do liquid oils and creams, that's good if you have high porosity hair. So you would spray your hair with a water-based product. You need to spray your hair with a water-based product and then use a cream and then seal it with a serum or an oil. How to take care. So using butters and oils, if you have high porosity hair. So of course, a good butter based product is our moisture cream. So if you have high porosity hair, that would be these two would be a good choice. You would hydrate with this, and then you can use this to seal, or you could use all three of these. So those of you that are into doing the LOC method or the liquid oil cream, this will be your liquid, this will be your oil, and then this will be your cream. And you can get all of those products in the Healthy Hair Kit. It comes with that, and it also comes with our hair growth treatment. So if you have high porosity hair, this kit, these products that come in the kit will be a great addition to your hair care regimen every day to help to keep your hair moisturized and get your health back on track, hair health back on track. Use leave-in conditioners and sealers, okay? They help your hair hold on to moisture. I think I said that. Use a heat protectant. Our serum is also a great heat protectant as well. Make sure you use heat protectants before you use any type of heat products, especially blow dryers, okay? Make sure you protect your hair from heat damage. You should also avoid hot water when shampooing your hair, because remember, water makes your cuticles open. Hot water makes your cuticles open. Your cuticles being open is not an issue if you have high porosity hair. You want to steer clear from super hot water. Stay with lukewarm or cooler water instead if you can. Okay, that was a lot of information. So I hope that you ladies are more informed. You can go back and rewatch this video if you need to. For every hair type, we have a combination of products that will work for you, okay? So let me know in the comments what type of hair or what porosity you think your hair is.